Hey everybody, how's it going? I just got finished with my Frank Deathmatch Civilization overview, and in that video, we talked a little bit about what civilization's team bonuses help out the Franks. That got me thinking about what are some really strong civilization combinations in Age of Empires 2 for a deathmatch game, and that is what this video is going to be about. On this list, you'll see mostly civilizations that bonuses and tech trees work really well together and complement each other's strategies. You don't enjoy playing deathmatch? Well, that's no problem, because this list is for team games, and team games oftentimes last to the post-Imperial Age, and so this list is still applicable. To start this list off, at number 10, we have the Vietnamese, with their super, ultra-powerful, unique technology, which is paper money. If you enjoy destroying the economies of the modern world with debasing the currency and inflation, this is the civilization for you. On second thought, I would have to say that the Spanish deserve this position, because their team bonus allows trade revenue to accumulate faster. The Spanish also have a relatively good tech tree in Deathmatch, with paladins, halberdiers, conquistadors, and siege rams, which makes them a solid civilization to be paired with in just about any game. For the number 9 spot, we'll have Turks and Koreans on Michi or Black Forest. This is because while they both have bombard cannons and bombard towers, which are important on these closed types of maps, their tech trees complement each other very well. The Koreans have extra ranged siege onagers, which are even better in Age of Conquerors, and they of course have halberdiers, but they don't have heavy scorpions, siege ram, or camels. The Turks, on the other hand, lack onagers and they even lack pikemen, but they do have heavy scorpion, siege ram, and camels, meaning they can have a very strong army when combined with the Koreans that is very dangerous at range, but is also very good at covering its weaknesses on this map. At number 8 would be the Saracens and the Indians versus Paladin civs. This is obviously because these two civilizations have the best camels in the game. Strong paladin civilizations such as the Franks and the Huns oftentimes do very well on deathmatch, but they struggle against both of these civilizations, especially when they are in combination. Saracens have both strong siege and a strong start with treadmill crane, but they lack halberdier, which means that if they're in a situation where they can't get camels out, or where the opponent is trying to mirror them with their own camels, it's a little weird to deal with. The Indians, on the other hand, who lack this strong start because they don't have strong siege, and they don't have treadmill crane, do have halberdiers, and they have a good tech tree to back that up, with elephants and hand cannoneers, which means they work really well together against strong paladin civs. But now, let's get into the really good stuff. At number 7, we have the very strong combination of Persians, and Persians on Oasis. Have you ever been annoyed playing against a Persians player, especially on Oasis, who really knew how to push, with a lot of elephants, rams, scorpions, and halberdiers? Well, multiply that by 4. I know it sounds a little silly because these civilizations are all the same civilizations, but trust me, this one is super strong. For all of you who are sure to demand that I do a real civilization combination, at number 6 would be the Persians and Koreans, especially on Oasis. The reason for this is because they both have strong but different death balls. The Persian death ball is elephants, scorpions, halberdiers, and rams, which is mostly reliant on food. The Korean death ball, on the other hand, is war wagons, siege onagers that have extra range, with halberdiers and bombard cannons, which is mostly reliant on wood. The reason this is good is because these two civilizations contribute each other, and because their death balls are so strong, but so different, that your enemy is going to have a very difficult time encountering you once you have this machine of death up and running. Entering top 5 territory, we have the Mongols and the Celts. Now please notice a trend, which is that good civilization combinations oftentimes have a little bit of overlap, but a little bit of difference. Both the Mongols and the Celts have top tier siege, and the Mongols get even better because they get benefited by the Celtic team bonus. However, the Mongols back up this great siege with really good mounted archers and with camels, but they can't back it up with halberdiers or paladins. The Celts, on the other hand, have bad archers, bad mounted archers, and no camels, but great infantry and pretty decent paladins, which makes for a great civilization combination. At number 4 would be the Aztecs, Huns, and Goths. This is unsurprisingly, because these three civilizations all have very strong rushes, but because your opponents have to use different units in order to counter these rushes. In order to counter the Eagle Warrior rush of the Aztecs or the Huscarl rush of the Goths, you'll have to make either champions or some unique unit or something else that counters these units well. However, in order to counter the rush of the Huns, you're going to try to use halberdiers, but that won't work too well, and if you have camels, you'll try your best to use these. However, this won't work too well against the Eagle Warriors, because the Eagle Warriors do bonus damage to cavalry, such as camels, and because the Goths will simply outproduce just about anybody and everybody. Also note that the Aztec rush, which is already very strong because they have a 15% increase in all military production speed bonus, gets even stronger with the Goth barracks creation speed bonus. At number 3, we'll put the Goths and the Koreans, and this is the third time the Koreans have appeared on this list. This is because the Goths have a very strong rush, strong infantry, but lackluster archers and siege, while the Koreans have a weak opening and only average infantry that will get replaced by the Gothic infantry, but good archers and absolutely great siege. This combo works well together for two reasons. The first is that it's a very good balance between the early game aggression of the Goths in deathmatch and the late game superpower of the Koreans with their almighty death ball. The second reason is that the inclusion of the Gothic spam makes the Korean death ball even stronger because the Koreans don't have to concentrate anymore on creating halberdiers if you already have a Gothic spam of these units readily available. At number 2, we have the Franks and the Huns in the HD expansions. This is because the Franks' new unique technology is chivalry, which gives them a 40% speed increase on all their stables. And when combined with the Hun team bonus, which is a 20% speed increase, that means that the Frank stables work 60% faster. Both are already top-tier deathmatch rushing civilizations, with the Huns not having to build houses, and the Franks having extra beefy paladins, but this just takes it to a whole nother level. If you saw my interview with Nilly AoE, you've probably expected this one coming. Before we talk about the number 1 pick, let's talk about an honorable mention, which is the Vikings and the Turks on Black Forest. This is because whenever you play as the Vikings, you make your team angry. Your team just seethes with wrath at you for picking the absolute worst civilization in the game on this map. However, when you play as the Turks, you make the enemy team absolutely berserk at you, because, let's face it, the Turks is a great civilization for camping with bombard towers and bombard cannons and just absolutely frustrating your opponents. If you're the type of person who likes to aggravate people, I'd say go for this civilization combo. And now, for the number 1 civilization combination in a deathmatch game, would be the Slavs and any civilization that is not the Huns that has a strong rush. This is because the Slavs' team bonus is that all military buildings provide +5 population points. What this means is that in the early game of a deathmatch game, where you're trying to build both military buildings and houses, you don't have to build nearly as many houses, because those military buildings will count as houses. I have noticed that this bonus works really well with civilizations like the Franks, Goths, Aztecs, and even the Chinese, because the Chinese start with all those extra villagers and a little bit of extra population space that can all be invested immediately into 4 to 6 military buildings, making their rush incredibly fast and incredibly strong. Anyway, that's all I have for this video, guys. Thanks a whole lot for watching, and I hope that you really use some of these civilization combinations in the future to the strongest effect you can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Buy. Trademark.